I've come to a secure storage facility in Northampton because I've got the opportunity to effectively unbox a nearly brand new old rally car from the 90s. If I mention Escort RS Cosworth to you, you'll be like, I know exactly what that is. You know, a car which was built to do a job, taking components from the Sierra Cosworth and bringing them into the 90s. This car here is almost delivery mileage. It's never really been competed in. It is as box fresh as you can get. Okay, here is the container. So we've got a time slot. They unload cars here all the time. We've got a time slot to unload the car from here. And then we're going to have a good look round it and hopefully we're going to fire it up. So I'm Jonny Smith and this is an episode of The Late Break Show. Right, so I've removed the security tag, which feels quite special. Let's have a look at the Escort. Always weird when things have been on the sea for ages. Oh. Hang on. You can tell I'm a container novice, even though I do rent one. This is awesome. I can't resist taking the covers off it. I'll have a quick look with the cover off and then we're going to get the guys in to unshackle it and get it out because the truck needs to move on. Eagle-eye viewers will have noticed there's lights. We have put some lights in, not just to help with the filming, but also because the guys who are about to uncouple the car need to see what they're doing because it's pretty dark in there otherwise. Well, look at that. I'm joined by Joe from Iconic Auctioneers, formerly Silverstone Auctions. Now, Joe, you're the one that contacted me about this car.
I am.
Because you thought I might be interested in sort of like this unboxing type of process.
Well, I know, you're famous for your barn finds, but this was a kind of unboxing in the similar vein where a car has been lost, but is essentially a new car and you're rediscovering it. And that's really what it is. It's a lost car that's come home back to the UK all the way from Australia.
So that, where we've just got it out of, it's come from Australia.
It's been at sea for 8 weeks in that container, safe and sound, all sealed, protected.
I can see.
Yeah.
You've got all of the security seals and stuff.
So no one's tampered with it. It's been locked in there. It's safely arrived and it's here for us to offer for sale in August.
So what's the backstory on this car? It's got 703 miles on the clock.
Yep. Just 703 miles from new, not restored, all original. It was a motorsport edition RS Cosworth, produced by Ford, so it was their sort of designed to go rallying spec, so lightweight, no air conditioning, winding windows, and lots of them were converted to rally cars.
Straight away?
Straight away,
yeah.
Before seeing the road, they went to rally preparation people and they were prepped to go rallying. This car was. It was ordered by a gentleman, a businessman in Jakarta in Indonesia, and he was something of a gentleman rally driver. He phoned a UK-based rally preparation company that he used before and then used for many more years to prep the car. So they fully prepped it up to FIA Group N spec, so special tank, all the fittings that you'd want to go rallying with it. It sat waiting to go to Jakarta. It was, again, on the high seas. It went there. And by the time it got there, the gentleman had maybe changed his mind, or the newest, latest and greatest model was out and about. And he did use it. He used it very gently, with actually the owner of the rally preparation company sat next to him.
Who are they're on the back of the bucket seats there.
These guys, the director, the owner of the company, sat with him on a stage of a rally. So literally those few hundred miles, and that's all the action and driving it's ever seen.
That's all it's ever done.
All it's ever done. So the underneath has never seen, you know, stone damage. It's box fresh. It really is like a restored car.
But not restored.
Not restored.
I was going to say, in my back pocket, I've actually got the little crib sheet of this car's life, because it's just so bizarre.
It is quite a unique story. Yeah.
So normally you get a motorsport car and it comes up for auction, and its provenance is what sells it.
Yeah, what races it's done well
What's
in,
it won
who's driven it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and all the sponsors associated with it.
Yeah.
What we got here is sort of almost a new old stock.
Yep, exactly
Escort Cosworth.
Yep.
Group N rally car that hasn't done any competition.
Nope.
So it doesn't have any race provenance. It's unrestored box fresh.
It's overused as an expression, but a time capsule. It's literally a template. If you wanted to restore a car back to rally prep in the early 90s, you'd use this car as a template. It's as it should be.
And this is a 92 car, August 92 car.
Yep, so a really early
Escort Cosworth.
Absolutely.
That's the first year of Escort Cosworth, right?
Yep, so it was one of the first 2,500 that were the what they call the sort of early runs of them.
Yeah.
That actually have a special place in collectors' hearts anyway,
Yeah.
because they're the early cars, where this one now is, you know, gone on and you know, lived a surreal life, but it's finally home.
So the chap in Jakarta who originally ordered it, Mr. Mahar Al-Gadri,
That's
a
him.
businessman and son of Hamid Al-Gadri, the prominent Indonesian political figure.
That is the gentleman that ordered the car. He was something of a gentleman rally driver, and it sat. He didn't use it anymore. Circumstances changed, and he had, I imagine, a quite impressive house that had a basement, and it was put in his basement out the way. There was rumour and talk about this car, that it had disappeared, and later on, a team of engineers from a rally team who were helping the gentleman with his rallying at that time
a totally
different car, different stage in his life, discovered this car tucked away in the basement, covered in dust, on flat tyres, and couldn't believe what they'd found. It was all original, low mileage, untouched car really, and they left because the rallying moved on, and myth and legend about this car sort of circulated around Australia, New Zealand, but it remained untouched and undiscovered for years and years until our vendor rescued it. He's based in Australia. He's a rally sort of guru. It came to the Australian shores. He recognised how special it was, and has saved it. He's prepared it for sale. It really is his love and pride and joy.
So it runs and it drives.
It runs and it drives. It's been beautifully maintained. He is an expert in terms of Fords, and he's gone right through it, kept it all original, but recommissioned it so it's healthy mechanically. We're going to try and start it up in a bit. It will do.
We have strict instructions, which we will go
really
through,
do.
Of how to start it. We've got the car came shipped with the proper wheels and tyres. So these are original Escort Cosworth.
Yep, but we're just on it for transport in a container.
Yeah, so it has the motorsport wheels and tyres. It's got the fuel. In the back, it's still the unused wheel and tyre. And I think what we'll do next is we'll break the seals.
Yeah.
Break the seal. We'll break the seals and we'll have a closer look around it, because it is bizarre. It just looks restored. So actually, I was going to talk about like high-value RS Fords of the past.
Yep.
At Silverstone auctions, you guys have hit record highs with some of these cars. I mean, the ones that got all the headlines.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it briefly earlier, but the RS 500 we sold back in February this year. Almost £600,000.
Over £500,000.
£500,000 for an RS 500.
That's a Sierra
RS 500 road car.
We've got a 600 grand Sierra.
Yep.
we had, I remember it wasn't that long ago that they broke the sort of 100,000 mark, which seemed like astronomical figure.
Yep.
Was that was for another RS 500?
That was an RS 500. We held the record, I think it was sort of 130,000 for quite a long time. And then this one back in February just blew everything out of the park. It was just crazy.
And then you've got the Sierra Sapphire.
Yeah, again, we set the bar recently in the same sale as the RS 500 with that almost was 100 grand, give or take, you know, where they were maybe 40, 50 at best. So
wow.
Our reputation with Fords has grown, and I say this is hopefully the next special car that, you know, hopefully for the customer hits the heights, because he's loved it, he's looked after it, he rescued it, and it deserves to do well for him, really.
I'm going to go get my side cutters so we can start looking around it. Just as you're watching this, if you're expecting this to be an Escort Cosworth history video, I am not the authority on Escort RS Cosworths. This is not going to be a strict history. There's lots of people that do that better than me. We are specifically dealing with the sort of the time capsule Group N rally car in this instance. But if I remember some facts, I will. I promise. All I remember is the main thing about the Escort Cosworth is underneath it's based on a shortened Sierra Sapphire 4x4 Cosworth running gear. And that car was an average competitor in World Rally. Basically, the Sierra Cosworth was too long and too heavy.
Correct.
And they missed out on Group B successfully. The RS 200 came too late. The 1.7 Escort 4x4 turbo, that car was stillborn, pretty much.
Kind of did, yeah.
So Ford were behind in the rally stakes, and they wanted to get back to the heyday of the late 70s, early 80s with the rear-wheel drive stuff. And that's what this car was built for. It was built with Sierra underpinnings, with the Mark V Escort body, to go and win rallies again, go and dominate WRC.
And it did. It did all around the world.
It was first seen in 1990. Where it went out and did a sort of a wild card rally event where they just wanted to shake it down, and it won, which was unexpected for everybody. And that is, what, 2 years later? No, a year later it was seen in public as this road car to be, and then it went on sale in 92. Let's get the side cutters. I haven't actually had a look in the car yet. We've broken the seals. We've already broken these seals, and that's very satisfying. Here we are. So, oh look, there's the ignition key. It's taped onto the roll cage. You can see the original door cards cut out for the cage where it was prepped. It's bizarre, isn't it, to think that it would have been a brand new car when it was prepped for rally, and it's still what, 703 miles on the clock. And inside there's all the packages come from Australia. So there, that box on the passenger footwell, it says pair of factory headlights. Right, because the headlights in it are those Moret quad lights, which were very popular in period. Remember the Scooby, Bug-Eye Scooby, they had those extra lights you could fit. And then in the back there, that massive box, which I'm really keen to get at, actually, let's see if we can get at this. That is the light pod kit for night stages. Because it's so mint, normally I'm not that bothered about motorsport cars getting the odd bump and scratch, but I'm too scared with this car because is that going to...
We've got working struts.
Oh, it works. Okay, great. And because it's Group N, of course, Group N being the sort of like the closest to road car spec in rally, there were various rules of things you could and you couldn't touch. So you'll notice it's got original H pattern gearbox. I think you could change some of the ratios within the gearbox, but the fundamental gearbox had to be the same. Final drive had to be the same. Engine spec had to be really similar. We'll have a look at that in a sec. Damping, you could change some of the damping, but not the geometry. It's got, of course, a competition fuel tank. The original fuel tank isn't under there. In fact, I'll just have a quick look. I did have a look off camera, yeah. But the exhaust has minor mods, but it has to keep things like the catalytic converter from memory. But you can see the diff here has got a gigantic gravel guard on it, rally guard. I mean, it is absolutely mint. It's mint. And there's that original Compomotive wheel and tyre spare, and I'm going to dig out the other ones because we're going to fit those wheels and tyres in a minute before we strike it up. This is like an Escort Christmas, isn't it? If you were going to have a classic Escort Christmas, it is. This is as good as it gets. Okay, light pod. Yeah, this way up. Bonnet, light pod. Do not open with knife. I won't. Don't worry, man. I won't. So,
right. Any other goodies?
A never used rally lamp pod. Right, I'll open that carefully in a sec. Okay.
Original factory lights.
Yeah. I think what fascinates me about this is it's because it was a sort of, you know, a stillborn order in some ways.
Yeah.
Ordered to compete, never competed, never led a hard life, has just sat in garages and workshops all its life. Who's going to buy it? Like, and what are they going to do with it? Are they going to be somebody that already has a collection of all the hot Fords that you can think of, all the RSs, or are they just going to see this and go, this is probably the only chance you're going to get to buy a new old stock rally car of this ilk?
Yeah, I think it's the unobtainiumness of it. It's the kind of stopped in kind of, you know, in its life.
Suspended animation.
Suspended animation. And
yeah.
It just takes you back to the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 30 years last year.
30 years last year.
Of the Escort Cosworth.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So maybe the collector who's got everything, who thought he'd seen it all, you know, this just comes out of nowhere. And as I say, it is as you want it to be.
Looking forward to starting it up. Not sat in an Escort Cosworth for quite a while. I'm old enough to have been on the launch of the Focus RS.
Okay.
But not the launch of the Escort.
You'd have been in short trousers like me today.
You are dressed like an Australian.
I did come dressed as an Australian just in honour of where it's come from.
So we've been working around the hustle and bustle of the warehouse. Cars have been coming and going, but we've put the proper Rally OZ wheels and tyres back onto the Escort. It looks so much better, doesn't it? Those original alloys, they're off the road car, but they looked a bit hidden on this because it's sitting higher because of the setting of the dampers. But yeah, look at these. With the Pirelli Scorpions, 205, 65, 15s. It looks right. These are lovely rims. Classic 90s rally rim. Now, we're going to have a quick look around the engine bay, and then we'll fuel it, put the fresh battery on, and we'll go for the startup procedure. Just admiring the Moret quad headlights, they're so of their time. Right, let's have a look at the engine bay, shall we? I've not seen this yet. Wow. Okay, look at this. I had a look underneath it when we were jacking it up. And the condition of the sump and the diffs and everything is, as you'd expect, really, really fresh and new. And you can see that this whole body shell's been seam welded, which is part of the prep for kind of high-end Group N cars. I don't think it was mandatory, I think it was optional. But because this was prepped from new properly, my word, look.
But all the consumables you can see, belts,
yeah,
filters, have all been renewed.
It's been recommissioned, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, look. Escort RS,
yeah.
Cosworth Motorsport.
Motorsport
Grupper N.
There you go.
That, and right, yeah, obviously right-hand drive. Because Jakarta is a right-hand drive place,
it is.
I think, yeah?
It is.
Indonesia. So there we go, the Cosworth 16 valve with the larger turbo. So my knowledge of Cosworth is not that detailed, but I know the earlier cars had the larger turbo.
That's right.
Which meant more lag on the low end. But Group N rally cars could use aftermarket ECUs,
yep.
I think.
And I think could handle a bit more power.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, look at the welding on that brace. The fabrication of that.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I just can't believe, I can believe because it's pretty much a new old car, but the condition of the chassis and everything is wonderful. It's been a long time since I've observed an Escort Cosworth close up. You've obviously got the, I reckon, slightly different fueling because I don't know whether they're allowed larger injectors.
Sure.
But yeah, There you go. I'll do less talking. Have a really good look at that. That's an almost box fresh Escort Cosworth engine bay. Right, time to put the fresh battery in. Now on this car, the battery doesn't live in the boot, and it doesn't live under the bonnet. It lives in this little glass fibre blast case behind the driver. And because the seat is bolted in, it's a bit of a fiddle. Right, the car was shipped from Australia, as you saw, and it had to be dry of fuel. So there's no fuel in it at all, but we've got a jerry can here of fresh 98 RON, and that's what we're going to put in. And that is the last part of the puzzle, actually. Battery's on. We've followed the instructions of the owner.
To the letter.
Yeah, so we'll let the fuel system prime up for 5 to 10 seconds when we turn the key. And then when it strikes up, we'll let it warm up, but I'll check for weeps on the fuel rail. Apart from that, I think we're nearly ready. When was the last time you heard a 700-mile Escort Cosworth start up? No, me neither. Right, the moment of truth. Oh, I've got the battery kill switch here. So put that in. Pumps. It's just a normal key because it's a Group N car. Fuel gauge has just moved. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Leave that for 10 seconds. No throttle. Leave it for a bit longer.
It's making a different noise.
There you go. That's primed. Yes. Certainly fuel up to 3 bar. Yeah, oil light went straight out. Yeah, oil 4.5, 5 bar. Just going to go and check the engine bay. There's no elegant way of getting out of a car with a big cage. No hiccups, no burps. It's warming up nicely. While it's warming up nicely, there are a couple of things I wanted to say. I forgot to say. So the development of the Escort Cosworth started in 1988. Obviously it didn't go on sale until 92, and it was seen in the public eye in 90. But this car went on sale really at the height of the joyriding era. These cars were almost uninsurable for a time. I mean, the Sierra Cosworth became uninsurable for a while. You needed a curfew almost on it. So this car nearly didn't come to be because the RS badge was such a target for thieves, joyriders, people like that. But of course the whole point of it was homologation. The whole point of it was to go rallying and to win. And what I like about this being a Group N car is it's actually very, very close to a road car. Although this particular version, was born to instantly go into competition, it's not the sort of highest level WRC weapon that the likes of Carlos Sainz drove. And never been sponsored, never had any livery. It's just a blank canvas of a car, isn't it? It does beg the question though, like what? I'm just curious to know, who's going to buy this? A motorsport car with no provenance, because it's pretty much not done anything, and that's almost the attraction. Is it someone that's already got a motorsport Escort? Someone that's already got all the RSs that money can buy and they want another one for their stash? It's bizarre to look under it and see how well preserved it is. A car that was sort of ordered, and by the time it was built and sent out to Indonesia, the guy was kind of over it really. He wanted a Mitsubishi Evo, and I believe he had a string of Evo rally cars after this, which he did use. And then it's been to Australia, been sitting in Australia for quite a while, and it's at that mileage and in that condition where it's too good to use as a rally car really. It's too original. Well, that certainly smells and sounds great. I hope you've really enjoyed this episode of the Late Break Show. Bit of a one-off really. Don't get a chance very often to effectively unbox a kind of new old stock rally car. This Escort Cosworth is actually going up for auction on the 25th of August with Iconic Auctioneers, formerly Silverstone Auctions, and I will put all the details of that in the description below. The guide price is something like 160 to 200,000 pounds. Will it meet that? Will it exceed it? RS Fords, they're funny beasts. They have a huge following, and it'll be really, really fascinating to see who buys it and where it will end up. Anyway, if you haven't already subscribed, why not subscribe? If you want to become a Patreon for a couple of pounds a month, you can watch videos like this earlier than most. All that's left to say is I won't be driving home in this. I'll be driving home in my old Beetle. It's a little bit slower. Thank you.